remember when Democratic voters and the Democratic establishment really was in total denial about President Joe Biden's mental state. Clearly, he was experiencing cognitive decline. And there were so many moments in his public appearances where I saw clips and I'm just like, oh no, this is so bad. But anytime you drew attention to it, Democrats would be like, no, it's AI, it's fake, it's a deep fake, it's a deep fake. I knew it wasn't a deep fake. I knew they were coping. And I'm really curious whether Trump's base now finds itself in that same situation because homeboy's 80. Okay, and 80's old. And look, if you're 80 and you're sharp as ever, great. But you are the exception to the rule. My dad's in his 80s. You're up there in age and you're gonna experience some level of cognitive decline. And honestly, you had seen a little bit of it with Trump, but there was really nothing that genuinely made me worry until the NATO summit. And there were two moments in particular that I think you need to know about. Let's start with the first.
111 missile shot by the Islamic Republic of Japan.
What? I didn't know Japan had an Islamic Republic. Well, of course they don't. So look, when I saw that, my first reaction was, okay, whatever, he misspoke. That's not that big of a deal, right? I do it sometimes. Sometimes I say something without realizing that I misspoke, like I misidentified something. Like your brain will be thinking one thing, but you verbally say something completely different. So that's happened to me, which is why when I saw that, I'm like, it's not that big of a deal, who cares? And then there was another moment and I'm like, no, this is it. This is bad. Let's watch.
You have a question for President Putin, George? Do you have a question for President Putin? Not Zelensky. Yeah, what would you like to ask him? Because I'm going to ask him that question.
Now, in that case, you said President Putin while pointing at Volodymyr Zelensky, not just once, but twice. Twice. And it's giving Biden, as the kids would say. If you don't know what I mean, remember this?
And now I want to hand it over to the president of Ukraine, who has as much courage as he has determination. Ladies and gentlemen, President Putin. President Putin. We're going to beat President Putin. President Zelensky. I'm so focused on beating Putin, we got to worry about it. Anyway, Mr. President.
I'm better.
You are a hell of a lot better.
Look, Biden's was really bad too, but it was slightly better than Trump's because he realized he made the mistake and corrected himself right away. Trump made the mistake twice. Listen, I don't want to talk about people being too old because it does make me feel a little bit uncomfortable, right? Like I don't want to veer into, people of a certain age, you can't trust them to be leaders. It really depends on your mental state, your physical state. And I do think that Trump, in regard to his mental state, has fared a little better than Biden's. But with that in mind, we got to figure out like what to do about this moving forward. I don't know if I want age restrictions on who can run for president. I mean, we do have age restrictions. There is such thing as being too young to qualify as a presidential candidate. But how come we don't have any rules on the opposite end of the spectrum? You know what I'm saying? I think we need to be a little, I don't know why we as Americans keep electing these people. Like, what are we doing? I know our system is broken. I know we usually don't have great options. But we need a younger leadership. This is not good. It's very bad. But, unlike some other, left-wing content creators, like I don't think that Trump has a terminal illness. At least I have no indication that he's got a terminal illness. And yeah, his hands get bruised, which shows that he has really bad circulation because he's 80. He's 80. So I just think that it's a wake-up call for American voters. Like we should make the decision to reject candidates who are in their 80s or will turn 80 when they're in office. It's just, I think that's too old. I think there might be very, very rare cases where maybe you can, look the other way, but even that, it makes me uncomfortable. My dad's in his 80s. He wants to watch soccer and nap. And you know what? Good for him. That's what you should be doing in your 80s. You should not be the leader of the free world, which isn't very free, as we've come to learn. That's my thought on it.
Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows.